Good morning, Pioneers. My name is Connor Morrison.
And my name is Justice Cullivan. Welcome to The Grit. We have a lot to cover in sports due to the long weekend, so let's get right into it.
Last Wednesday, boys soccer crushed Central Crossing in their first tournament game. Girls soccer also won their first tournament game 1-0 against crosstown rival Olentangy.
Last Friday, football defeated Hilliard-Bradley 35-10. Running back Cohen Weaver found the pay dirt twice in that matchup.
Girls cross country placed third in districts and are moving to regionals tomorrow. Boys cross country won runner-up at districts and are heading to regionals as well.
Girls volleyball swept Westland 3-0 in tournament play on Wednesday. The girls won their first set 25-3.
Boys soccer beat Hilliard-Davidson 3-2 on Wednesday night. Jeffrey Addo, Matthew English, and Spencer Artledge all scored for the Nears. The boys are now district champions and looking to continue their playoff run next Wednesday.
Tomorrow, girls volleyball takes on Westerville Central in the district finals at Lancaster. The game time is 2 p.m.
Additionally, cross-country regionals take place at Pickerington North, with the girls running at 2 and boys running at 2:45. That concludes our sports recap. It's an important week in high school football across Ohio, so let's highlight some key games happening tonight around our area.
Excited
Me
for
too.
this week of sports, or specifically Friday. Whew, we got some good games. We're going to leave the best for last. We're going to start off with a pretty big rivalry game between Olentangy, the OG, the first of the four, playing the newest of the four, the Berlin Bears. Braves versus Bears. It's going to be a great game. I'm going to take Berlin, though. They have the better track record. They have the home court advantage, or home field advantage, I should say, as this is football. They beat Liberty. Very few teams have. There's only been two. And so I'm going to take Berlin here. I think it's going to be a close one. Olentangy has had a very easy schedule this season. They don't have Ethan Grunkemeyer. They don't have their tight end that went to Cincinnati. They do not have the same players. Berlin's defense has been pretty electric. Offense has been a little inconsistent at times, but I think they come through and pull away with the victory.
Yeah, I agree. I think out of the four Olentangy teams, that Olentangy's not bad by any means, but I think they're the weakest team. I think that, Liberty does have 2 losses versus Olentangy having 1, but it's 2 losses against really good teams, against Upper Arlington and against Berlin. So I think that now when you have this matchup of Olentangy and Berlin, I said that backwards. But I think that, like you said, the home field advantage is going to be a key role here, so I think that Berlin will probably take this one.
All right, so I'm glad we agree on that one. Let's see if we continue to agree. We got number 5, Pickerington North, going against Gahanna Lincoln. Gahanna really took a turnaround of the season ever since their absolute destruction against Liberty, where they got beat I believe it's 31-0. It was bad. They got showed who was the boss in that game. And I think they get shown again that they are not the top team. Pickerington North has continually shown that they have an electric team. They have an electric fan base that is going to be traveling well. They're pretty close to each other overall.
Conference game.
So it's going to be a game I think it's going to be a great game, but I do think Pickerington North shuts down the Lions, and I don't think that Gahanna gets as lucky as they did against Orange.
Yeah, I think that Gahanna Lincoln really isn't that great of a team. Obviously, they're good. They beat us. They're the only team to have beat us. But I think that, that was just an off week for the Nears. They've gotten pummeled by some of the other teams like we talked about, like Liberty. Pickerington North, very strong in their division, and this is a conference game. So I think that with the game being at Gahanna Lincoln, it might be a little closer, but I don't know who I would take here. I kind of just want to lean towards Gahanna Lincoln because I think that being at home is going to be such a big thing for them. I traveled to the Orange and Gahanna Lincoln game. It's a great atmosphere over there, so I think that atmosphere is going to play into it, and I'm going to take Gahanna for this one.
Well, we'll see who comes out on top in that prediction. Then we got the UA Golden Bears. 2 weeks ago, they suffered a pretty handled defeat against Orange. I know the score doesn't show that, but ever since that second half started, they scored 3 points. Levi Davis was lights out. Besides one fumble on the 1-yard line, that game would have been 35-20. And the pick 6 also. There was never really in doubt after Orange took the lead. So, and UA is known for their good defense. Obviously, I do not think Hilliard-Davidson has the same level of offense as they were held to, I believe, 14 points against Orange. I'm going to take UA here. I think they did win last week, bouncing back well. They've been pretty great overall. They have 2 losses on the season, 1 to Orange, and I forget what the other one was, but it was an upset loss. Their defense has been electric all season. They have a great DN that is committed to Michigan State, Thrash. He's an insanely good player. He's going to make some big plays. This is going to be a nail-biter because I do believe UA is traveling into a hard place to play in Hilliard-Davidson. But I am going to take UA to beat them. It's going to be a close one, coming down to the wire. That's my pick.
Yeah, I'm going to take UA, but for a couple of different reasons than you said. So, like we said, UA is number 4, Hilliard-Davidson's number 6 in Division I in Central Ohio. Hilliard-Davidson has 3 losses. I'm a bit surprised by their ranking, quite honestly. They have 3 losses to, I don't know the teams off the top of my head, but they have 3 losses. UA only has 2 losses, one of which came in week 1 against Glennsville, just kind of when they're figuring the team out. They don't really have everything in place yet. They're not moving as well as they are now towards the end of the season. So I think you can kind of discount that loss. The only main loss they have is against us. And I think that even though they're going to play at Davidson, I don't think that affects UA. Like you said, their defense is great. Their offense is pretty good. It's a lot of running, as we saw, but that can really just tire a defense out. And I think that as the game goes on, if a defense can't stop that run and they get super tired and they just need to get off the field, it's just going to allow UA to move the ball even quicker. So I'm going to take UA in this one. And now let's talk about the biggest game. Liberty versus Orange. Number 2, Liberty versus number 3, Orange. Liberty beat Gahanna Lincoln, like we said earlier, 31-0, a team that we lost to. However, their 2 losses are teams that we've won to, Upper Arlington and Berlin. And, the Berlin game was not, I wouldn't say very close. Upper Arlington, like you said, score kind of tells a different story than if you actually watch the game. So, obviously, we're going to take Orange here. I think that they've had a very tough schedule, playing teams like Berlin, Upper Arlington, Liberty tonight, Gahanna Lincoln earlier in the season. I think that some of that tough schedule has really shaped how the team has looked now. They've gone through some hardships and struggles as far as on offense and defense, and I think that that is kind of the key factor here in which team will win, and also playing at Pioneer Field tonight.
Yeah, and I do think that home field advantage can really help, but I think this is really a question of the immovable object of the Liberty defense versus the unstoppable force that is the Pioneer offense. It's a question that most people ask themselves more than once in their lives, and I think tonight we're really going to see which one is going to be the more powerful one. Liberty's defense has been electric at times, pick sixes. They have a great running back also on the other side, Jake Strutt, very good player. And then Andrew Leonard, their quarterback, also a great player. They have a great team. But you know what they don't have? Levi Davis at quarterback. And that's, what Orange has? They have Levi Davis at quarterback. I'm telling you, this guy is special. I've seen it. I've called games. I've seen the progression from his freshman year, where I was just a student in the student section at the top of the bleachers being forced up by all the seniors. I saw him my sophomore year calling a couple games. And I was like, all right, this kid can play. He made some errors every once in a while, threw some interceptions. But this season, he has thrown over 20 touchdown passes, run for almost another 10. I believe he's at 9. Almost 30 touchdowns in only 2 interceptions on the season.
Right.
That is progression that you just do not see very often. Levi Davis is a special player. Cohen Weaver is a special player. Taron Thomas is a special player. This is a special team with a special coach, and they're ready to dominate Liberty. And I promise you, by this time tomorrow, we will all be happy as Orange blows out Liberty.
Absolutely. And let's talk about that progression a little bit. Like you said, I think turnovers was Levi's main issue in his first 2 years playing. This year, like we said, only 2 interceptions. However, both pick sixes, which is an interesting thing to keep in mind. If he throws an interception, I guess you can kind of assume that it might be run back, but we don't know for sure. So I think that progression that we've seen as far as turnovers, he's had a couple fumbles here and there, not a lot, doesn't really have a turnover problem anymore. That was his main gripe. And I think that now as he's progressed, and I think this junior year is where he's took a huge leap for himself, and as far as stopping some of those turnovers, being able to roll out of the pocket and throw a lot cleaner ball while on the run, That's what's really changed with this offense. And then this new scheme with Coach Schrader has really been able to elevate the things that Levi plays well off of, throwing on the run. He has some design runs. He likes to scramble. And then all of the other offensive weapons that surround him, Beckett, Taryn, Cohen, all of these players can go create plays for Levi, or they can just make their own plays. They don't need Levi to do anything special. They just need to get open. They just need to create the right blocks. And I think that this team, especially the offense, has just been a well-oiled machine the entire season. And I think that that is the reason that Orange is going to win tonight.
Yeah, and I want to talk about a little bit more the defensive side of the ball. I think, I know I just said the immovable object versus the unstoppable force, but honestly, in the trenches, when Jake Strutt is running it for this Liberty offense, we know that it's a good offense still. It's a very good balanced team, but so is the Orange defense. They've really stepped it up. Connor Stevens played lights out against UA. They could not take the top off, and that's going to be important. Andrew Leonard is able to throw that ball deep if he has some pretty good receivers. So he will be looking for that opportunity. Jake Strutt is able to come out of the backfield and play receiver as well. He's going to be a very hard player to stop. But once again, he's matching up against one of the best linebacking cores this year. They've had injury after injury, but they have really progressed, and now they're all back, and they're ready to play. And they're going to dominate today. The D lineman has taken a massive step. We've seen Jaden Workman make a massive step. We've seen Chase Martin make a massive step. Evan Herberger's made a massive step. I really think it's going to come down to if Orange is able to stop that run and force Andrew Leonard to throw. And you do not want to be throwing to number 17, Trent Schrader. We know what's going to happen if that happens too much. It's going to be going the other way quite quickly. So I'm glad we both agree. So I think all in all, this is going to be the game that you need to go see. This is going to be the game 20 years down the road when I'm sitting, or actually even longer than that, like 60 years when I'm sitting in my chair telling my grandchildren about my first game I ever called that became an instant classic. I'm going to be telling them about tonight.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a great one to watch. You're going to be on the call, obviously. It's going to be a great one. We're going to see, like you said, a movable force or unstoppable force versus a movable object. I'm excited. We'll see how it goes tonight.
All right. As we just said, the boys take on district rival Olentangy Liberty tonight for the last game of the regular season. The theme for tonight's game is Blackout. It's the last game of the regular season, so make sure to be there and be loud.
That's all for our show this week. Make sure to support your Nears in action this week. I'm Connor Morrison.
And I'm Justice Colvin. See you next Friday on the Grit and roll Nears.